Know what I want to start with today? One small scene. You'll probably recognize it. You might even flinch, because it's about you. Picture a fitting room. A woman comes in to try on a dress, and there on the shelf beside her sits a hat. Light, summery, with a soft, wide brim. She picks it up without thinking, just to have something to do. She puts it on and goes still. She looks at herself a little longer than she planned to. She adjusts the brim, tilts her head slightly to one side. And for a moment, the woman looking back at her from the mirror isn't the tired woman who's been running errands since morning. It's someone else entirely. Rested, radiant, like she's just come back from the coast. She admires herself for a minute. Then she sighs, takes it off, and puts it back on the shelf. Where would I even wear something like this? I've got nothing to wear it with and nowhere to go. And she leaves. Then spends the rest of the summer hiding from the sun, holding a handkerchief over her head, shielding her eyes with her palm, ducking under whatever umbrella happens to be nearby. Does that sound familiar? Come on, honestly, does it? Well, my dears, I want to tell you something today, and I want you to really hear it. The same item can make a woman look like two completely different people. In one hat, you're a tired gardener who spent half the day out by the greenhouse. In another one, right next to it on the same shelf, you're the woman on the seaside boulevard who turns heads as she walks by. And you know what's most interesting? It has nothing to do with money. Nothing to do with how thick your wallet is. It comes down to 3 or 4 small details. That's all. And today, we're going to take our time and work through each one so that you never again put a beautiful hat back on the shelf with a sigh. Let me explain why I'm so focused on hats specifically. Not bags, not shoes, not brooches. Here's the thing. A hat sits at the very highest point of your entire silhouette, right above your face. It frames your face, the way a frame frames a portrait. And here's the key thing to hold on to. When someone looks at you, their eye reads the hat first, before the dress, before the shoes, before any piece of jewelry. Simply because it's at the top, right next to your face, and the eye has nowhere else to go, it goes straight there. Let me give you a comparison I hope will stay with you for a long time. Picture a mirror in a frame. If the frame is worthy of it, beautiful, well-crafted, it will elevate even the most plain, modest glass. But if the frame is cracked, peeling, thrown together carelessly, it will ruin the impression even of an expensive mirror. Do you see where I'm going? Your face is the glass. Beautiful, familiar, yours. And the hat is that frame, and it determines how everything else is read. Now, before we move on, I really want to ask you something. Please write in the comments. How do you manage in summer? Do you wear a hat? Do you love wearing one? Do you have a favorite of your own? Or do you hide from the sun under whatever's handy? A scarf, your palm, a hood, anything to keep from getting burned? I'm genuinely curious. I mean that. I read everything you write, and your answers are how I put together new topics. And since we've agreed to be honest with each other, I'll make you a promise. Toward the end of our conversation, I'll name the specific brim styles that take years off your face. Not in vague, general terms, concretely matched to your face shape. Round, long, with a pointed chin, there's a tip for each one. So stay with me, because it really does matter, and it really does work. For now, don't go anywhere. Now I want to say the thing that might be the whole reason this conversation is worth having, because a hat isn't only about looking beautiful. It's also about you, about your skin, your health, about how you're going to look not today, but in a year, in 3 years, in 5. Here's the thing. As we get older, and it becomes especially noticeable after 60, our skin changes. The protective barrier that used to hold its own in our younger years gradually weakens. It doesn't take the hit as well anymore. And at that point, the sun stops being a friend and becomes something that speeds up the clock. It's sun exposure, not age itself, that accelerates the appearance of fine lines, dryness, and those dark spots on the cheeks and hands that trouble us so much. We sometimes think, well, that's just the years catching up. But honestly, in half of cases, the years aren't really the issue. The issue is the sun, which we keep turning our bare faces toward, summer after summer. And this is where a hat does something no expensive cream and no heavily advertised serum can do. A good wide brim casts full, even shade. It covers not just your face, it shields your neck and the area across your chest as well. The very things that show age first, and that we work so hard to conceal afterward. The shade from those brims does it more reliably than any jar of cream. And I mean that. Simply because the best way to deal with the sun is to keep it from reaching your skin in the first place. And here's a small but important distinction. Remember this one. A visor, that sporty cap with just a front brim, can't do any of that. It'll cover your forehead, maybe your nose, but your cheeks, your ears, your neck stay completely exposed. The sun reaches them easily from the sides. So a visor isn't really serious sun protection. It's more about keeping the glare out of your eyes. What we need is real shade, full coverage from all sides. And that's what makes this such a remarkable thing. One single item you can put on in a second does two jobs at once. It builds your look, the one where you're the woman on the promenade, not the one at the vegetable patch. And it quietly protects your youth, too, every single day, while you're simply out for a walk, heading to the shop, or sitting in the yard with a cup of tea. One thing, two gifts to yourself. Isn't that worth understanding properly? And in the next part, we'll get to the good stuff. We'll start breaking down exactly what sets a resort hat apart from a garden sun hat, what signs to look for, and how to choose so you get it exactly right. All right, let's roll up our sleeves. This is the most important part, and it's what the whole conversation has been building toward. We'll start with the central question that I'm sure has been nagging at you for a while. Here are two hats. One says, dacha, vegetable garden, greenhouse. The other whispers, seaside, promenade, vacation. And sometimes the price tag is identical. So what's the difference? I'd point to three key signs that decide everything. Let's go through them one at a time without rushing. The first sign is materials and quality, what the piece is made of and how it's made. You know, a garden hat gives itself away immediately, before you've even put it on. It gives itself away with a limp, soft, shapeless little sun hat made from cheap, thin fabric that holds no structure whatsoever. It gives itself away with rough, uneven straw with individual fibers sticking out of it, like something tied together carelessly. It gives itself away with that unpleasant plastic-looking sheen, when the straw or fabric catches the light in a way that looks synthetic and artificial. And it gives itself away with an overall wrinkled, battered look, like it spent a month at the bottom of a bag. Now listen to what a good quality hat says instead. It speaks through tight, dense, even weave, straw laid against straw, no gaps, no loose ends. It speaks through firm, pleasant textile or felt, without that greasy, slick sheen that cheapens a piece so fast. It speaks through a clean, neatly finished edge, not fraying, not uneven, but crisp. And it speaks through a straight, tidy stitch, if there is one. And here's my favorite tip, and it's almost embarrassingly simple. When you pick a hat up, Squeeze it. Go ahead and squeeze it firmly in your hand. Then let go and watch. A quality piece will spring back into shape immediately, as if nothing happened. A cheap one will stay crumpled, limp, looking sorry for itself. That's the whole secret. Your hands know. Trust them. Now let's quickly run through the styles, so you have a sense of what you're actually choosing between. There's the wide-brimmed straw classic, the iconic resort hat with generous brims. There's the Panama, but made from fine, quality fiber, not the shapeless fabric kind. There's a style with a soft crease in the crown and a medium brim. Very elegant. There's a structured straw hat with a flat top, sharp and refined. There's a hat that fits close to the head. And there's a soft, floppy style with a downturned brim, feminine and romantic. And then there are the ones I'd ask you to be more careful with. The sporty visor, we've already talked about that one. And the bucket hat, the kind that sits deep on your head in a shapeless little dome, and anything loaded down with fake flowers, oversized lettering, or gaudy ornaments. That kind of thing almost always works against us. But don't let all the names overwhelm you. Stick to the 4 basic silhouettes and you can't go wrong. A wide-brimmed straw, a good Panama, a medium brim style, and a soft floppy with a downturned brim. That's it. That's enough for a lifetime. The second thing to look at is the brim. Oh, the brim. This is probably the most important factor of all. Remember one simple rule. The wider and more even the brim, the more expensive the hat looks, and the better it protects you. Wide, well-structured brims that hold their shape beautifully. That's what says seaside instantly. And what cheapens a hat? Stubby little brims that look like an afterthought. Limp, soft, drooping edges that hang sadly downward. And on the other end, brims that splay out stiffly and unnaturally, stuck out like they've been glued on. Neither extreme serves us. What we want is the sweet spot, even and confident. While we're here, let me say a word about crown height. That's the upper part of the hat, where your head sits. It shouldn't be completely flat, and it shouldn't rise into a towering peak either. A moderate crown always looks more refined. And about the ribbon, if a hat has a ribbon that strikes you as garish, neon, shiny, covered in rhinestones, don't write off the hat itself just yet. The ribbon can almost always be removed and replaced with something quiet and understated, in a matching tone. That takes 5 minutes, and the whole thing is transformed. A small trick, but a genuinely useful one. The third thing to look at is color and trim. And here, nature is our best guide. Natural, calm tones always win. The color of straw, sand, cream, warm milk, charcoal, coffee. Everything we find in nature sits warmly and beautifully on us too. What doesn't work? Acid, neon shades that hurt the eye, plastic berries and little flowers glued on top, rhinestones, glitter, gilded lettering. All of that, sadly, brings the whole thing crashing down instantly. And one more thing worth saying, it's worth coordinating your hat color with your hair and skin tone, so everything feels like one calm, cohesive melody rather than a clash of competing notes. And now, the part I promised you at the very beginning. Here it is. How to stand right in front of your mirror and figure out your face shape by eye. And choose the brim that takes years off you specifically. Walk up to your mirror, pull your hair away from your face, and take a calm, easy look. If your face is round and soft, wider brims and a slightly taller crown suit you. They visually lengthen and slim. If your face is angular with strong cheekbones, look for soft, flowing lines and a downturned brim to soften those sharp edges. If your face is oval, lucky you, almost anything works, so feel free to experiment. If your face is long, go for medium to wide brims and a lower crown, so you don't elongate things further. And if your face narrows toward the chin, brims that flare out slightly at the bottom will work well for you. They bring everything into balance. And here is the golden rule to carry with you always. A good hat balances the face rather than mirroring its shape. It adds what's missing and softens what's in excess. That's really all there is to it. Now, a little real-world practice. What do you actually wear a hat with? It gets along beautifully with natural fabrics, linen, cotton, silk, and it doesn't play well with sportswear, loud prints, or anything busy. And since we're here, let's put one myth to rest once and for all, that a hat is only for the beach. Not even close. A good hat works in the city, on a walk, visiting friends, or over a simple linen dress on an ordinary weekday. Build yourself a few go-to combinations for different occasions. Pair your hat with sunglasses. They're a perfect match. And don't forget about your height and build. If you're petite, an oversized brim can swallow you whole, so be a little selective. If you're tall and statuesque, you can carry a bigger sweep just fine. As for how to actually set a hat on your head, how to care for it, and the warmest part of all, that's in the third and final section. And here we are at the last part. The most relaxed one, honestly, because choosing something is only half the work. Living with it, handling it with care and affection, that's a real skill. Let's get into it. We'll start with what seems to worry everyone: hair under a hat. I'll put it on and everything underneath will be flattened and matted, and when I take it off, I'll look like a scarecrow. Sound familiar? Here's the thing. The first mistake is tucking all your hair away completely, pulling everything under the hat without leaving a single strand loose. Don't do that. Leave a few soft, free pieces around your face. Let them fall along your cheeks. It immediately softens the whole look, makes it feel feminine and alive rather than severe. And the fact that your roots get a little compressed under the crown, that's normal. It happens to everyone. Don't worry about it. Take the hat off, tip your head gently forward, give your hair a shake, and lift it at the roots with your fingers. The volume comes back in seconds. That's the whole trick. Now, storage. Most people don't think about this, and that's a mistake, because improper storage is usually what turns a beautiful hat into a crumpled mess. Remember, never set a hat upside down, resting on its crown. It'll lose its shape, and the brim will buckle and ripple. Store it either brim side down, or better yet, resting on something that supports its shape. Keep straw away from moisture. It really doesn't like it. Dampness dulls the look and can leave stains. And here's a great trick. Stuff the crown with soft paper or a scrunched-up tissue. That way the hat keeps its beautiful shape while it waits for summer. And if you're traveling and want to bring your hat along, please don't let it get crushed at the bottom of your suitcase. Carry it separately, in your hands or on top of your things, with the crown stuffed with paper so it holds its shape on the journey. Yes, it's a little more effort. But you'll arrive at the seaside with the hat you actually packed, not a crumpled rag. Now, quantity. How many hats do you actually need for the season without breaking the bank or cluttering up your home? Honestly, 2 or 3 is more than enough. One wide-brimmed resort hat for holidays and sunshine. A second, neat, pulled together for the city, everyday walks, errands. And a third, if you want one, something a little more special for going out, visiting, a celebration. That's it. No more needed. And where do you find a good one without paying a premium for a famous name? Anywhere the quality is there. Don't chase the label. Chase the quality. Remember our test? Squeeze it in your hand, check the edge, the weave, the structure. The hat will tell you everything you need to know without any tag. And let me quickly put together a rundown of mistakes, the ones that turn a hat into something you'd wear to weed the garden. Keep these in mind and steer clear. 1. Being crushed and losing its shape. 2. Cheap, loose material that's obvious from a distance. 3. An acid color paired with tacky, shiny trim. 4. Stubby, short, drooping brims. 5. A mismatch, when the hat and the outfit just don't belong together. And 6. Very common, wearing it pushed back on the crown. A hat sitting on the back of your head always ages you and looks sloppy. Wear it slightly forward or tilted a little to the side, that's when it comes alive. And since we're talking about how you wear it, a hat shouldn't be floating on top of your head like it landed there by accident. It sits slightly forward, settled and confident, or tilted gently to the side. That easy, slightly playful angle that instantly brightens your face. Try it in front of the mirror, move it around a little. You'll feel the exact moment when it clicks into place. Your face opens up, your eyes lift. There's nothing else quite like it. And now, my dears, let me tell you a story. Not my own, but the kind I've heard many times over. There was a woman, nearly 70. Her whole life had been her home, her garden, her vegetable beds. Honestly, she never really ventured beyond her own plot. And she wore an old Panama hat, faded and shapeless, the kind you don't mind ruining. Then her granddaughter came to visit, and she brought a gift, a simple but well-made wide-brimmed straw hat in a warm, quiet tone. Nothing remarkable, really. And she showed her grandmother. Look, tilt the brim up just a little here and shift it slightly to the side like this. And that was all. The woman put it on with her linen dress. She walked up to the mirror, and she stopped, because for the first time in many, many years, what she saw wasn't a woman from the vegetable patch, not a tired, worn-out grandmother run ragged by chores, but a rested, radiant woman who looked as though she'd just come back from the coast, from the sea, even though she hadn't left her own garden at all. Not once all summer, but the mirror doesn't lie. She really did look that way. And you know, there are so many stories just like this one. Women swap an old shapeless sun hat for one good hat, just one, and suddenly they're hearing it from neighbors, from friends, from family. You look so much younger. What happened? You're absolutely glowing. And what happened was just one thing, one right hat, and that's exactly what I want to bring you to, the most important point of all. Don't talk yourself out of something beautiful with that thought. But where would I even wear it? There's nowhere to wear it. Remember the woman in the fitting room from the very beginning? The one who hung the hat back on the rack and walked away? Don't be her. There are plenty of places to wear it. To the store, out in the yard, on a walk, for tea on the veranda, just down the street in your own town. Anywhere at all. Because a beautiful thing isn't something you save for a special occasion. You need it for life. For this ordinary, everyday life of yours. Which, by the way, is the special occasion. And before we say goodbye, let me leave you with 4 signs of the right hat, short enough to keep in your memory's pocket. First, natural, substantial material that holds its shape. Second, a calm, natural color with nothing loud about it. Third, a brim that suits your face shape and isn't narrower than your shoulders. And fourth, worn just slightly forward or tilted a little to the side. That's all, my dears. That's everything you need. Put your hat on and go. Wishing you a light and easy summer, warm sunshine, and that reflection in the mirror that makes you smile. You deserve it. Sending you a hug